You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging out with you guys actually in a little different change of pace and change of scenery. We are hanging off the back balcony right now at the Green Industry Hype House, which a lot of you guys have seen a lot of that content here on YouTube and the different podcasting folks that have been joining us here at the Hype House down here in Tampa, Florida. We actually have a great guest for you guys lined up on this episode. We have none other than Andy Mulder here to hang out with us, who is a professional hardscaper. So, Andy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brian.
You excited to be here?
Yeah, it's great to be here, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Andy and I are just getting to know each other. It's really cool to network, and that's kind of one of the reasons for the Hype House is to just kind of cross-collaborate, share audiences, and get to know more folks. And so if you guys don't know Andy's whole story, we're going to kind of jump into that over the next 20 minutes here and just kind of introduce you guys to Andy and his very unique story. And frankly, I think you guys will be really impressed with what not only Andy has to say with his business acumen and just who he is as a person, but the way he runs his business, to be honest with you, debt-free, which is really exciting. I know he's been talking about that a lot while we've been here at the house. And so I think you guys are really going to enjoy the show. Andy, I'll kick it over to you really quick. Why don't you just get these guys up to speed, maybe for just a minute or two, just a highlight reel, like kind of what your business looks like today and what you guys got going on.
Yeah, so we started in 2013, 2014. I think it was the summer of 2004. Or spring of 2014, I went full-time. Okay. I worked for another guy for 13 years before that, and then me and my wife decided to start the business and do it ourselves. And so, yeah, now we have about 5 guys that work for us in the summer full-time. And then we do high-end hardscape work. We have a little bit of maintenance work that we do, and some landscaping work. We do a little bit of commercial stuff. We kind of, but our focus is, high-end hardscape work. That's what some of my favorite stuff to do and what we try to do. But sure, yeah, we do some drainage stuff and yeah. So how many do you guys? A couple guys working for you, I think. Yeah. In the winter, we have 3 guys usually that stay on all winter, but then in the summer it'll be 5 to 6, and I usually work with the guys every day too. So yeah, and you guys are in Northwest Indiana. Yeah, Northwest Indiana. So that's his hashtag on Instagram. His handle is MMSNWI. Yep. I've been locking that down. Yeah. It's obviously going to have to change soon. So. No. We're just having. I was poking fun. I'm like, man, for branding, that's kind of a tough one to remember. It's. I'm like, when I made it, it was just available, and I'm like, well, that works, and I never expected. You just don't. No, for sure. You don't think about it in the beginning, But. Well, while we got you, we're gonna kick it over to our producer here in just a quick second to bring some of the show notes and the announcements and just get these guys up to speed with what's going on in the podcasting world and our ecosystem. But when we come back, I want to talk to you about how you grow your business, how you got it to where it is today. But then also a really unique story that you have is that you guys are debt free, from what I understand. Yes. Maybe you can allude a little bit more about how all that came together and why or why not, maybe debt versus, good debt versus bad debt, no debt versus having debt. And everybody's got their own approach. Right. And so it's always cool to hear other people explain their story, why and why not. So if you guys want to hear from a very successful hardscaper, you guys want to hear from somebody who's debt free, somebody who's crushing it, somebody who's highly endorsed by Caleb Allman and a couple other guys that are here with hardscaping, who's very well respected, stay tuned. So let's do this. We're going to kick it back over to Marty back into the ATL to bring you guys the show announcements and all the updates, and then we'll come right on back.
You're a lawntrepreneur. You're smart about investing in equipment to grow your business, to be more efficient, go the distance, and take more on. But if you're not investing in yourself, it affects how hard you can work, how long you can work, how fast you can work. You want efficiency. It's time to trash those grass-stained athletic shoes that fail on slopes and in the dew. You want to go the distance. Forget about the overkill boots that weren't built for the yard. You don't have to choose between lightweight comfort or water-resistant traction because Cujo Yardwear was built for you. From heel to toe, Cujo selected the best quality materials to optimize the performance and satisfaction of lawn care professionals. While you focus on laying killer stripes, Cujo will be there every step of the way. Check them out at Cujo.com, Kujo.com. Need professional-grade yard shoes or landscape boots for you and your crew? Visit CujoYardwear.com and use the promo code Bryans10 to save 10% and receive free shipping. Now, back to the podcast.
All right, good deal, guys. Well, let's just jump right back into it. Andy, let's just kick it back over to you. I want to give you the time of day here with the limited time that we have here at the Hype House. So let's go back to your startup story in 2013-14. You were getting your business going. You said that you were working for somebody else for over 13 years.
Yep.
So what did that look like? Did that just allow you to learn the industry, learn the trades, and then what made you decide to start your own business? Was it a conflict of interest, or you just decided to go out on your own?
Yeah, so I started working for him when I was about 15. He'd pick me up on Saturdays, and in the summer I'd work for him doing landscaping. The company did a lot of commercial work and things. Mm-hmm. And when I graduated high school, I went full time right away. School wasn't really my thing. I just didn't want to. I just loved doing landscaping.
Yeah.
And we didn't do hardly any hardscape work. A little bit here and there. And me and my wife, I got married, and we had our first kid, and we just decided that if I wanted to get into this business for myself, it was either maybe stay where I was at, maybe buy his company, mm-hmm. or go out on our own. And I knew that the only way that I was going to buy his company was to get into a bunch of debt.
Right.
And it's one of me and my wife's passions, and we feel is important thing that we wanted to stay out of debt. And so we felt, well, that's the only way to do that would be to start from the bottom and do it from nothing, And so I kind of ran it on the side for about a year. I had a couple mowing accounts, and then I would do landscaping stuff or side jobs on the weekends. And whenever I had time, and decided that we were just going to take the jump and go full time. And so we had saved up a little bit of a nest egg to do that.
Sure.
Kind of pull the boat closer to the dock, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so we decided to do that. I had a 1-year-old at home, I believe, and she was working part-time.
Your wife, not the kid.
Yeah, my wife was working part-time.
So I'm young, man,
Yeah. So it was scary. It's
And how old were you guys back then? Like late 20s, maybe?
Let's see, I would have been 24, 23.
Oh, so a little bit younger, yeah. 24.
Yeah, maybe 25. Yeah, 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had a house, obviously, and decided just to make the jump. So I had sold the truck that I had and bought a older truck that I could pay cash for, mm-hmm. and our big goal was to run it debt free.
Yeah,
and so
let me ask you that. So you're starting the company at 25, 26, and did you just get started into landscaping and hardscaping, or was, like you said, did you transition out of mowing? Because most guys, we're primarily a lawn care landscaping podcast, and I love the hardscaping world and ecosystem. I love hanging with Caleb, and I'm getting to meet guys like you, guys like Josh Sutton over here, right? But for a lot of mow and go guys, they want to transition to higher profit margins and larger jobs. So it's a really natural evolution for people to get in turf treatments and fertilizer.
Right.
Or the other camp is to graduate to hardscaping,
right?
Which I think is awesome. And I'm a huge mowing guy. I love mowing. I love cutting grass. I envy the hardscapers, but the overhead to me is kind of like that barrier to entry. And I'm just trying to do a couple different things at my life right now, where I don't know if I want to tie up $150,000 in skid steers and dump trucks, right?
Yeah, right.
So how did you guys get the cash to start getting some of this more expensive equipment? Because I know there's that barrier, and some of these guys listening in, they're like, well, a skid steer's $60,000, a good dump truck's $60,000. How do you do that? So did you guys graduate from mowing, or just pay cash for the rickety truck that you worked on nights and weekends, or how did you guys bridge that gap?
So I knew that I wasn't going to just mow grass. I had no desire to that's what the business was going to do.
Sure.
It was something that I took on some mowing accounts to get things started, and we still have 2 guys that mow grass for us full time right now.
Okay.
In the beginning, we mowed 2 days a week, and 2 to 3 days a week, and then we would do landscaping the other 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And so that's how we ran it I didn't have a full time landscape crew for 2 years, I think. So we always had, part of us would do some lawn maintenance half the week. And so that's that helped, I think, with some of the transition, because the mowing helped some of the cash flow always coming in.
Yeah.
And, but I bought a used 1998 Case 1845C Bobcat. I bought it the winter before I went full time. I think we paid like 12 or 13 grand for it.
Okay.
And and I still own that machine today. But I did tons of work with that machine, and it's very reliable, and it started every day, and it's cheap. I mean, I think the problem is everybody thinks that if you're going to get into business to do hardscaping, everything's got to be brand new, and that's just, that's all they see, and so that's all they think is the only option. And there's so many other things. I mean, my first mower that I started with was a 42-inch Exmark, $2,000 mower I got off of Craigslist. And,
right.
It's like, and that works. I mean, that worked. It was, nobody didn't pay me because it didn't stripe as beautiful as the standard I have now or whatever, So I think that that's just a problem with guys starting out, is they think that that's the only way to do it. And so, like I had an super old dump trailer I used for my grandpa, and I borrowed one of my dad's pickups because we only had one truck. And,
right.
And then the following year I bought a $6,000 used dump truck that I just sold in the last year and a half.
Yeah.
And all those things make money, and they do what they need to do, and they looked decent, and it doesn't happen overnight, but we knew that if we wanted to grow the business debt free, you're going to have to make sacrifices. We're going to have to grow slow, and we're going to have to buy smart.
Yeah.
And if we didn't have the money, we weren't going to buy it. Or if we needed to buy it, we were going to buy something that we could pay for.
Yeah.
So,
look, can I ask you this? What's with the debt-free thing? And I mean that in a good way. You know what I mean? Because you're and I've dabbled with debt. With leverage. Fancy way for debt is Caleb Ballman always makes fun with Dave Ramsey saying that, right?
Right.
But my story was I was so behind the eight ball where I did like 6 figures in debt just with mowing and mowers and a truck. But that allowed me to like triple my business in like 18 months. Then I took that cash flow and paid off all my debt. Right. Because we're just getting to know each other. So that was my story for about a 3-year window. But all my stuff was old. All my stuff was rickety. And I was like, dude, we need to like really invest in this thing if we want to go all in. So I leveraged like $100,000 of debt to make a couple $100,000 a year business. So I liked that experience, but it was manageable. Liz and I knew what we were doing. We were committed to it. And so I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to being debt free either. Like for the most part right now we're debt free, besides the mortgage we'll have coming up and the stupid Tesla I bought. But that's YouTube pays for that. But anyway, right? So but there's other guys out there that are like, hey, leverage debt, be $1 million in debt, have, like you said, have the nice brand new skid steer and excavators, and I'm making stuff up. I don't know. I don't know your world, you know what I'm saying? But they, you see the trucks on Instagram, and they have 3 trucks and 3 crews and dump trucks and all this crazy stuff. And I'm just thinking to myself, how much work do you need to do to keep all that moving?
Oh yeah,
every single day. And then some of these guys, like, they have 8-month seasons, 6-month seasons, and they don't do snow.
Right.
And I'm like, how are you keeping these things paid for, let alone profiting?
Right.
So, and I remember you got fired up about that topic last night or 2 nights ago. We're on the balcony, and you're like, "Yeah, man, we do not operate like that. We know our numbers. We're very low overhead." Can you explain like your story on that?
Yeah. So, me and my wife went through the Dave Ramsey financial peace class.
Oh, well, there you go.
Like maybe it was like, I think our first year of marriage. We've been married for 11 years now.
Oh, there you go.
And
congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so it became a huge passion of ours, is the debt-free living and what we can do with money if we make it and are able to keep it. And money's a tool, and it's a gift from God, and we believe that we're stewards of the money He's given us. And so we just really have taken that to be part of our lives, and because of that, we wanted to start and run the business like that. And so there's a lot of things that I do differently than other people do because of that. But I also know that it's not the only way to run your business. Like, I don't ever want to come across as like, if you have debt in your business, you're an idiot. And,
right.
I don't believe that at all. I just believe that this is what's worked for us, and it's a huge passion of ours.
Amen.
And it's totally worked for us. And it's now we're at a point where now we're really starting to see the fruits of our labor, and the ability to give more and provide more for our family and do things that we never thought we'd be able to do. And so when I started, I didn't want to do any snow plowing, and so we decided, okay, well, if we're not going to have any debt and we're not potentially not have any income in the winter, we have an 8-month window where we need to make all the money we need to make. And,
Amen.
And so being debt-free helps with the stress of that, because come wintertime, I don't have any bills coming in. We have small, insurance and things like that, but that was a huge motivator to in the beginning was to do that. I am in snow plowing now, but it's just the amount of peace I have not worrying about income in the winter was huge, especially in the beginning. You know, I had a wife and a kid at home and a mortgage, and you know, I got to be able to provide for my family, you know, and so you know, just making sure that we set ourselves up for success every winter. By the winter every year was super important, and so that was a big motivator for us. And now it's just become a way of life, and it's completely changed our life. And you know, we last year we were able to pay off our house mortgage, and now and that's just been the.
Well, hold on one second. You just said pay off your house mortgage.
Yeah, so
that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That was a huge.
We like to celebrate that stuff. I don't have like
thank you.
I don't have a fancy button, you know, like you know, like some Dave Ramsey show here.
No,
but.
yeah, and so that's like the final step in like his program, and now it's such a weight off more than I really thought. Like it's like a. I don't know. I can't even explain the feeling. I mean, it probably took me 6 months to be like, holy cow, like this is real, you know? And like,
and how old are you right now?
I'm 34.
There you go, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so the sky's the limit now. And it allows us to do things that we wouldn't have maybe been able to do. And it's going to allow the business to go places that we didn't think we could maybe go. And, you know, when we make money, we keep it and we don't give it to the banks. But I also want to say, like, a lot of people will tell me, like, oh, well, what about 0% financing and this and that? And
sure.
First of all, again, I'm not saying this is the only way to run your business. This is how we've done it. Mm-hmm. But I also will say that I 100% know that every time you finance something, if you finance it, it's not as much of an emotional transaction as what it would be if you weren't financing it. And I think you think about it a little more when you're going to write a check. Like if I buy, you know, a track machine and I'm going to write a $60,000 check, like I really think about if I'm going to buy it new.
Yep.
I really think about like, holy cow, like is this going to be the place I want to put my money?
Yeah.
Because I'm literally putting it from my pocket into theirs, and I'm not getting it back except I'm getting this piece of equipment.
I heard somebody say about that, and maybe it's from the Dave Ramsey folks, but when you open up your wallet and you take, you know, $20 out to go buy some Starbucks for $5, right? And, you know, they give you cash back, and it's less than what you took out. You're like, whoa, like there's actually less missing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Less than what was here, right? I mean, obviously, hello, but when you just swipe your debit card, you swipe, it's invisible almost, right? Like
it's an emotional experience when you pay for it with cash.
Amen. Like the physicalness of like, you know, the paper is, you know, as weird as that might sound, it's a real transaction to you then. And I think you're right. Again, my story was I had to use debt. Like we were so far behind the eight ball. We had no. For me to just continue to buy used mowers and crappy equipment, we were never going to pull forward. You know, we were sweat equitying it out, and it was just like, look, we need good trucks, good equipment, and we had to start leaps and bounds. But I love the fact that, like you said 2 seconds ago, everything we make, it's now ours.
Yeah.
You know, minus some expenses and some overhead.
And taxes, of course.
Good old taxes, man. Don't even get me going on that one. And probably more as we continue over the next few years, amen? But which is not fun. But well, let me ask you this. We'll button it up here and kind of land the plane. But let me ask you some maybe takeaway tips for younger guys. Maybe they're 18 to 25, kind of like what you were working for somebody else, and then they want to maybe graduate into hardscaping or start a hardscaping business. Doesn't have to be super esoteric, but you get like 3 or 4 maybe practical tips for any of these guys that are starting to get into hardscaping, what to look out for, what to double down on that you thought wasn't important but was important, and things that you thought were important that you realized were kind of trivial. Anything like that?
Yeah, I think like the first one I would say would be don't be afraid to grow super slow. People think that, you know, you instantly need to have 4 or 5 guys and you have to have all this equipment and you just, it all happens overnight. And I think that, and Instagram and all YouTube, everything makes everything look like it's just happened.
The highlight reel.
Yeah. It just, everything's perfect and it wasn't hard to get here kind of a thing. And I think that's getting lost in the younger community and wanting everything now. And so it's important to realize that it's going to take time. It's going to take work. And if you want to do it how we've done it, you have to be willing to make some sacrifices and buy things that are used. And, you know,
took you 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Like
10 years, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not overnight.
Right.
Like what's like the overnight success story.
Yeah. Know, right.
It's like the longest night of that guy's life.
Right.
Because it's 10 years.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So it's just, again, it doesn't happen overnight and it takes time, and be patient and don't worry about what other people think of you. and do a really good job, because the jobs that we've done and been able to do were the best ones are referrals from other jobs and other clients. And so any job you do for anybody, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It really, you would not believe where your next job's going to come from, you know? Yeah. And I can't remember the book, but it talks about in there about every single person is a potential client. And you just, and that is, I have found that to be so true. Is I can think of jobs and how we've gotten them and what the connection was, and it was so crazy. And they come from everywhere, you know, and it just, and it doesn't, I mean, it literally starts from nothing. I mean, I started doing some brick edging for my neighbor. Yeah. And that's literally what I started doing. It's just, and we mow their grass still today, but that's where it starts, you know, and it can go from anybody. So, it's just keeping a really good name in the community and growing slow and not worrying about what other people think, I think could be really helpful to people. So
I like that. Well, that's something that we preach on our show for sure. And we just wanted to take a quick minute, get you on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. I really appreciate it.
It's so cool that you guys got to come on down.
Yeah, this is awesome.
I don't think we've met until today.
Yeah, no.
I don't even know if I've DM'd you or messaged you.
No, I don't think we've ever talked.
Yeah,
really cool.
Caleb's like, hey, we got these cool hardscapers coming down. You got to get them on the show. You got to check these guys out. I'm like, sure, man. And if you're a friend of Caleb, you're a friend of mine.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
thank you.
If you need anything, anytime, any place, holler. You're in Indiana?
Yes, Northwest Indiana.
Yeah, so we're in Michigan over there.
Yeah,
so
not far away, actually.
Yeah, we're 3 hours maybe tops?
Yeah, probably.
So come on, visit someday.
Yeah, I should.
And when we put in the hardscaping, at our house,
you know who to call.
Amen to that, right? I told Caleb we got to do this like MTV Cribs like Hardscaper takeover.
There you go.
We get,
that's actually a really good idea.
You know what I'm saying? Like this build a backyard day and
just live the whole thing.
Yeah, like have 10 of the best guys put this whole thing in like 3 days. And
yeah, there you go.
I don't know, that'd be a fun experience. We'll see.
Yeah.
But and then we can also get it at cost, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, everything's free.
I'm all about that free life, brother. So, but no. Well, let's do this. As we button up, just open mic. Anything you want to share with these guys? But if not, we'll finish it up.
Yeah, no. Just check us out on Instagram. It's at MMSNWI, and our website is the same. And
Andy Mulder.
Yeah. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks to Unilock and PermEdge for sponsoring me coming down here. I really appreciate that.
Amen.
And thanks for having me on, man.
You bet, bud. All right. Well, let's do this. We'll button it up right here. Let's kick it over back to the ATL with Mr. Producer to wrap the show up. But guys, thanks again for listening to this episode of Fullerton Unfiltered with Andy Mulder, and look forward to catch up with you guys here on the next one.
Hope you were just having an incredible day. Hey, it's Marty, and there is a short video on the LaunchpreneurAcademy.com homepage I would love for you to take a moment and watch. Brian's going to spend a few minutes just laying out everything that's in our whole ball of wax bonanza, including the training courses from the Hardscape Academy. He eloquently spells out how spending the $9.99 to get it all will save you years in your professional development and get you closer to your financial goals and dreams and do it quicker. I'm not sure really how he can afford to make this offer, especially with the bonus coaching call and lifetime updates, but he's the brains behind the operation. My job just to make sure you know how it could change your life for the better, and it all starts with grabbing the whole ball of wax right now at LaunchpreneurAcademy.com. Please watch Brian's video, and finally, thanks again to today's valued partner and sponsor. You're a launchpreneur. You're smart about investing in equipment to grow your business, to be more efficient, go the distance, and take more on. But if you're not investing in yourself, it affects how hard you can work, how long you can work, how fast you can work. You want efficiency. It's time to trash those grass-stained athletic shoes that fail on slopes and in the dew. You want to go the distance. Forget about the overkill boots that weren't built for the yard. You don't have to choose between lightweight comfort or water-resistant traction because Cujo Yardwear was built for you. From heel to toe, Cujo selected the best quality materials to optimize the performance and satisfaction of lawn care professionals. While you focus on laying killer stripes, Cujo will be there every step of the way. Check them out at Cujo.com, Kujo.com.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.